the begging here is extreme. And when I say extreme, there are certain areas that are targeted by these beggars. And those beggars, they don't want to take no for an answer. And what's really awkward about the situation is that when you come over here, there's certain areas that most tourists and foreigners come to. And those areas in particular, they are targeted by these beggars. And when I say targeted, they're everywhere. They're hanging out, they're standing outside of buildings where you stay, they're outside of businesses. There's security guards, and there are people that are shoo them away to get them off the property. But once you step off that property, you get surrounded by them. And you feel bad because a lot of them are women and children, and they're coming around, they got towels in their hands, they're just like, they're looking for a handout. And one of the things that I found out, though, about these particular beggars and stuff that are in these areas, they're not even from here. They're not even from this island. They actually come over from another island in another area, and they target the foreigners and the tourists, and they stand out there. Now, these kids aren't in school. They're not being really looked after that much. They're out there and they're begging you for money, grabbing you. They're going, and they won't even say any words to you. It's like they pretending that they can't speak. And since the majority of them do that, that's the reason I'm saying that. They'll just go like this, try to give you the sign, I'm hungry. They'll rub their belly, they'll look for them. And the other thing that you see with them is that a lot of them are carrying babies. And when I say babies, I'm talking about like 6-month-old and under. And these are little children. I mean, they can't be more than, shoot. They're definitely less than 10 years old. And they're carrying around these babies and things like that. And these women that are out here, they're carrying them around. The babies are flopping and they're just walking them around. And they're hanging out there doing whatever it takes to get money. And you feel bad for them, especially if you've never been here and you don't understand what's going on. But these people are coming here to get money from you. And if you once you get here and you got boots on the ground, so to speak, if you haven't been here, you'll realize that by looking around, they're not asking anyone else. They're only asking the foreigners. They're only going after them. You just rarely see them doing that. Now, there's another version of that, and that's not in those touristy areas, but it's in areas they go to that people have a little more money than the rest, right? So you'll see these same type of people, women in general, or kids, and a lot of them are teenage girls or younger, and very few men. The men are there. Don't get it twisted. They are there. They're watching from somewhere else, and you'll see them because that's where the money goes to. But it's kind of like they have these women out there, they're controlling them, sending them over here to do whatever they need to do. But they're walking in the streets at stoplights, and they're banging on your door, and they refuse to leave. You keep your window up, and you try to, but they're knocking, and they're like putting their face on here. They're doing all those things, and they're very aggressive. And again, you don't hear any words. It's just, I'm here, I'm hungry, or they're pointing to their baby. They're holding like milk up or an empty bottle, things of that nature. It's extreme, and I mean, it's just aggressive, and they won't go. And you can even tell them no in English. You can tell them no in Bisaya or Tagalog, and they pretend like they don't even understand you. And They know, but they have come here to do this. Now, since being here, and I've been here about a year, getting close to it, uh, I have actually seen that the government has rounded these particular beggars up and put them on ferries and sent them back to their home. But it's just a temporary fix. The next ferry over, they're getting right back on and coming back over here. They make them disappear for, a few days or a week, but turn right around. They're back out there. And when you realize that, as a foreigner, our money's worth more. So you feel bad at first, and you give them 50 pesos, you give them 100 pesos, the small bills, it's less than $2, less than $1, whatever. You give them some change that you have. That stuff adds up. And if you look at them, how aggressive it is, they definitely are doing pretty good. Think about this. The average wage here in the Philippines is about $9 a day. If you're giving them a couple of dollars or, 100 pesos or 50 pesos each time, and they're targeting all these people, they're doubling, maybe even tripling what the average Filipino makes here in a day. And little kids, and they're doing this. There's a reason they're not going to school, and there's a reason they're begging the foreigners or the Westerners for money and not the local people. You're being targeted. So, poverty here in the Philippines is different than poverty back in the States where I'm from. In fact, I looked up the poverty levels before I decided to make this video. Did you know that the poverty level for the federal poverty guidelines in the United States for one person is $15,650 a year? That's the poverty level that for the federal government. Now you and I, if you're from America, know that you can't survive on that. But here, if you do $9 a day, and I will use 6 days a week for 4 weeks out of a month, it's only a couple of $100 a month. So these people are making, $200 to $300 per month and living off of it. Well, these little beggars are doubling it, tripling it as a whole, and they're working in teams. There's kids, there's young adults, there's whatever. And like I said, you see the men, but they're usually off in the background, hiding, watching. And they're usually the ones in control. And you're sitting here wondering to yourself, these little kids are holding babies. These young girls are holding babies. And you see a group of them, and there's usually like 1 or 2 men that are in charge of them all. It doesn't look good. That shit would never fly back in the States. But here in Cebu City, that is, it seems to be normal. In those expat areas are the tourist areas. But, if you look at it in the aspect of, what the poverty level is in America and poverty level here is not. It's kind of rough. We don't look at it like this. And the other thing you have to understand is that there's no child welfare or social services or child protective services here like in the United States. They would, nobody comes and picks them up and takes the kids away or puts them in a foster home or anything like that. Takes care of those kids, get them out of a bad situation. They just let them run around and do whatever. You'll see they're sleeping out on the sidewalks, and you see little kids just sleeping out, and basically babies having babies out there, and they're doing it and using them as tools to get what they want, which is that money. But God, just you think about that. If you're coming over here, you need to realize that you're not helping the situation by giving these beggars, and I'm talking about the extreme beggars, money. They're making more than the locals, and that's why they keep doing it, because we feel sorry for them. and we keep giving them money. I don't do it anymore, especially once I started learning and figuring out their little hustle and their scams. But it's real. But I want to touch on one other topic, though, when it comes to the poverty level and things. You need to understand that people here, they work and, they're making somewhere between $9 and $12 a day, depending on their level that they're at. And all of these people that have these jobs, like in a business or a restaurant or something, they're all college educated. They all have college degrees, and they're making minimum wage. That's the norm here. So, it takes, someone I know is a Filipina. She works over in a call center, and she gets more than others get because her English level and her experience level. So she makes about 12,000 pesos a month versus, that minimum wage thing. So you have to understand that they make money, but it's just nowhere near what it is like for a Western country. And now you also have to understand that the people here don't understand how our money is worth more. They don't understand the economic aspect of it. And they really don't understand the aspect of, in America or in these Western countries, our goods, our services, our products, it all costs us more. And we have to make more in order to survive. They just don't understand that. They just think, unfortunately, that we're just rich. It's a different world. It's a different economy. Here and there, they don't get that aspect of things. But their poverty levels are obviously a lot lower than what it would be for us as Westerners or in the United States. And they live just fine. I mean, they live their Filipino way. They have their own lifestyle. They have their own norms, and where it doesn't bother them. Where in America, it bothers all of us, and we're like, oh, we're poor, or we need to make more money, or you get little handouts, assistance from our government, things of that nature. Those things really don't exist here. The programs that are out there, they get such a minimal amount or such a minimal amount of help. It doesn't compare to what happens over in the United States. And I just speak to that because I'm from there. There's no food stamps. They don't help you out with housing or Section 8 or, those, I'm going to send you to college, I'm going to give you this money, or, just to help you out to supplement your income, like SSI, supplemental income. And because you make below the poverty level, or you have, a kid or 15 kids or whatever the case is, and you just don't make enough. So it's different here. But those beggars are out here, and you need to understand, if you're coming over here, avoid them if you can. Stay out of those areas, because they do. They come out at night, they're out during the day, and they are targeting you. All right, guys. I'm going to talk to you later. That's my little video for this week, all right? Take care.